What's up, guys? Welcome to the Take It With a Grain podcast, where we talk about Oklahoma lifestyle, business, and overall real estate in general. My name is Dylan Adderhole. I'm a realtor here in Pauls Valley, and I'm joined by
Skylar Finnestead, a broker here in Pauls Valley.
And we're going to go ahead and just jump right into our first segment here. We're going to call this Take It With a Grain. Feel like it's a pretty fitting
It's appropriate
segment name for the title. So I think that a lot of people right now are just feeling stuck in general. And it's not even about money or their position in life. Maybe they're not as far along as they would like to be at this point. But I think it has to do with a lot of what they're seeing, not only on social media, but just the internet in general. And that could be applied to anything. Is it home buying, or is it fitness and wellness?
Yeah, I think that goes
you could apply that to anything.
Yeah, we can absolutely apply it to real estate, but also I think it's applicable to everything because there's so much information overload that when people are trying to get started on something, it's almost so overwhelming that they just don't.
Right. Yeah. You're looking at a lot of business owners, I feel like, that are looking for advice online because that's where people are getting their information from, is social media. I feel like no one's watching the news outlets anymore. It's all my news comes from TikTok, which is kind of scary to think because it's just random people.
So my husband,
but
the news doesn't even come on in our house.
Right.
All of it comes from online sources.
But you think about where you get your information nowadays. You're looking at TikTok, YouTube University,
X,
Reddit. So I think what the point I'm trying to get at is to have a credible source that you go to for information like that, no matter what space it is. If you're looking at health and wellness, or if you're looking at, real estate, a lot of people are looking at real estate ideas online, and are we having a housing crash? What's going on? How do we navigate that?
Well, and cross-checking your data, because just because you're getting information from one source doesn't mean that information is going to be accurate and the same across all sources.
Right.
So,
right. And make sure you're getting good information because it can make or break any situation you're going into. A big thing right now is AI.
Yep.
People using ChatGPT, and I use it as well. I use pretty much any AI.
I love AI. I use it every day.
Right.
But there's just an appropriate way to use it.
Right.
Where you're not getting brain mush because you're just putting everything in AI, trusting everything AI says. You're not cross-checking information.
Right.
That gets scary.
Yeah.
You're letting AI make your life decisions. I don't know that I would quite recommend that. Use it for pros and cons or bouncing off ideas. But
well, and ChatGPT does this thing. I use it almost every day now. I pay for their premium subscription, whatever. But ChatGPT specifically does a thing where it talks you in circles. So you're talking about, you're asking it questions. And then you say, okay, based on that answer, you have another set of questions. And then it just loops you in circles. And so what I'm seeing a lot, not only from what I'm using it, but people using it against me in a way.
Trying to conversate with you,
right.
But they're getting their data from
AI. They're having conversations with me where I'm answering their questions about real estate specifically, because that's what I'm having the conversation about.
But then you're confused because you're you already asked me that question.
Yeah, I get the same question from them, just reworded a little bit, 3 times in a row. And it's one of those, I'm happy to answer the questions, but if I've answered it 2 times,
you're okay.
I'm So that's what I'm seeing a lot. But just know your source, trust where you're getting your information from, that it's a professional that you have dealt with before. And AI is a great tool. We use it for a lot.
I'm not saying don't use it. Yeah, definitely use
absolutely.
But relying on it solely, especially when you start getting into state-specific things, or when you start looking at law, or what rules and regulations are there, it may not be completely accurate, especially if you give it a generalized question.
Right.
You're going to get a generalized answer.
Right, absolutely.
And that's probably not what you're actually looking for.
Right. So I think that ties into a lot of people starting to overthink, because once they have too many opinions, the thoughts just start bouncing around in their heads about what's actually true and what's not. And what overthinking can lead to is no action, which I think is the most detrimental to most scenarios. But real estate specific, let's say you're between 2 homes and there's several issues with one of the homes, but the other one's a little bit more spendy.
Yeah.
you're going to start overthinking all the things that are wrong with the first home because you want it to work, because you're going to end up spending less money on the purchase side of it.
Well, then that house, the long run?
Right. Yeah, exactly. But then that house goes under contract. See, no action just killed whatever momentum you had building up. So, no action, I think, can go with a lot of different topics, no matter business or real estate, life decisions in general.
Yeah, being slow to make that decision and to actually like move on it can cause you to not have that option anymore at all.
Yeah.
You put yourself in a whole other position and scenario at that point.
Right. But then what if I make the wrong decision?
You can't think that.
Right. I feel like you can't think that because there's always a way out of a situation.
There is a win in every situation, even if sometimes it is not right in front of your face.
Right, because it could be more long term.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at, buying a house is a 30-year commitment in most scenarios. You see people that do finance for 15 or can pay cash, whatever. But for the average American, it's a 30-year commitment. So
well, and I mean, what a lot of people don't realize is, especially in our area in rural Oklahoma, we have tons of loan options that are super low down payment. Mm-hmm. So these buyers don't necessarily walk into a property with a ton of equity.
Right.
So it's like you can't turn around and sell it in a year because inflation isn't going to have helped you yet.
Right.
You haven't built any equity yet. Mm-hmm. You will.
Right.
But you can't turn that in a year.
It takes time.
So those lower down payment, programs are fabulous for getting people in our community and homes, but we want to make sure that they're committed to staying for 5 to 10.
Are you seeing a lot of that right now? Because I am. People that are trying to sell their home, maybe they bought it 2, 3, 4 years ago and there's just hardly enough equity to get out from underneath it.
Well, because that's the people that were purchasing during the height of our market, which was, post-COVID. The market was higher. It has since stabilized and those numbers have come down. So these people that paid a premium, they might have super low interest rates. I mean, maybe you see them with like 2-3% interest rates, but they have no equity because they did a USDA rural development loan or they did an FHA loan with down payment assistance. So they started out financing the full amount at a premium.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, rates were still good back then, but
rates were great.
Yeah.
And they still have those rates.
Right.
But when you're trying to replace that now, you don't have equity because you haven't paid in long enough. You've mainly been paying interest.
Right.
So, you already paid a premium. You're barely paying down interest. So your principal isn't really budging.
Right.
You have no room.
Right.
And I hate seeing sellers in that situation, but I am seeing it a lot right now.
I feel like we're in a buyer's market right now. I know we touched on that last episode, but I think that brings us into like perfect timing, because perfect timing, you hear it for buyers. You don't necessarily think about it for sellers.
Well, and I'm going to be honest. I don't think there's any such thing as perfect timing.
Right. Yeah.
I think that is an illusion.
Right.
And, people are like, oh, well, I have to wait until... It's not about figuring out what timing is perfect in the market. It's like, okay, what timing is going to work for you? Because the timing that works for you, Dylan, may not work for me.
Right.
Right? Our perfect timing isn't necessarily the same thing. And I think that's what people try to look at is like perfect timing as a whole for the market when it's so much more individualized than that.
Right.
There's lots of factors that go into that of what is perfect timing for you specifically.
Right.
What are your goals? What time crunches are we trying to meet? Where are we at on numbers?
What are your needs?
What do you really need?
Right. Because COVID market, especially the height of our market, I think was 21 and 22.
Absolutely.
Right in that range. Everyone was home. So they needed more space.
We saw people wanting to move, a lot of people wanting to move out into the country, or looking for stuff with bigger outdoor areas, or just bigger square footage because people that didn't used to work from home now worked from home. So maybe they didn't need an office. Well, now they need an office.
Right.
Well, now a lot of those people are back in an office building. They're not
the kids
working
are
from
back
home
at school.
anymore.
Right.
And the kids are at school and they're like, okay, we don't need this now.
Right. I think that's why we're seeing a lot of people, like you said, 3-4 years later being like, hey, we want to sell when maybe the equity is not there, whatever the case is. So we have a ton of inventory right now, which, goes into the buyer side of it, talking about what their perfect timing looks like.
Yes.
And they're trying to time the rates, and it's just not going to happen.
It's not. And the thing, rates are going to change. They're going to go up. They're going to go down. They're not ever going to just stabilize and be the same. So shop the house, date the rate is a phrase I learned to use a few years ago.
Yes.
Because if you get a rate and a payment right now that you're comfortable with, like, okay, you're comfortable now.
Right.
But if rates do happen to drop, you can always refinance.
Yeah.
And what we saw a lot when rates were so low before was people they didn't necessarily want to sell, but maybe they would refinance and pull some cash out to remodel their kitchen, put in a pool.
Right.
And so those options are always there down the road too, once
Right.
you have built some equity.
I feel like most people are feeling stuck right now because it's not that they don't have opportunities. It's just the fact that they're stuck in that analysis paralysis of like what all my options are.
It's overwhelming.
Right. But it's because they won't make a decision based on those ideas and thoughts.
And like you said, if they're using AI to try to haggle that out with themselves, AI could potentially just be talking them in a circle.
Well, AI likes to agree with you too much.
Yes, it loves to tell you that you're right.
I have to tell mine to shut up and like be real, because half the time it's like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Go jump off that bridge.
Yeah.
And it's never, okay, there are a few times where it's helped and it's been like, okay, this is the right objective answer. But for the most part, AI is your best friend you never had. That's just going to agree with everything you say.
Yeah, mine thinks I'm super cool.
Right. Yeah.
Might be the only person on the planet that thinks that, but it does.
Hey, you know what?
I'm going to keep my AI buddy.
I love AI, and I don't want that to be like the misconception, because it is a powerful tool.
It is, but you have to use it correctly.
Right. So I think that takes us into our second segment. We're going to call this In the Field.
All right.
So our big question right now that a lot of people are asking is if they should even be considering buying a home right now, which I know goes back into what we just covered in the last segment, which was timing. But what are the reasons that they should be? Because I know you hear all the reasons not
Why
to.
Why shouldn't you be?
Right.
Give me a legitimate reason.
Yeah. I mean,
why
rates.
should it? Why not?
Yeah.
Okay. We just talked about that.
Right.
Why is that rate holding you?
Right.
It's going to change.
Yeah.
There's options down the road.
Yeah, you can refinance later.
Refinance.
Yeah. So you've done a HELOC yourself, right?
Yes, correct.
Can you speak on that?
Yeah. So I did it to venture into some other investments. But I did have significant equity in my house, and then I had another opportunity that I wanted to pursue. So I did a HELOC. It was like the easiest loan process ever. I mean, basically do an appraisal. Here's your equity. This is how much money we can give you.
Right.
And so with the HELOC, that is it's a revolving line of credit. So you can use it and pay it off and reuse it as much as you want, depending on, like, mine specifically is a 5-year.
Right.
It's a 5-year note. So for 5 years, I can use it, pay it off, and reuse it and pay it off as many times as I want.
Right.
So if I use half of it, or I use all of it, pay half of it, I can use that again.
Right.
So that's allowed me to do some stuff around my house. It's allowed me to venture into some other investment opportunities. And so once you have that equity, there's other options as well.
Yeah. So timing wise, I think the rates is the number one thing we hear. No, the rates are too high. I would never buy a house at 6-7%.
Okay, but if you feel comfortable with your payment at a 6 or 7% rate, and I'm just spitballing, I don't have a crystal ball.
Right.
But in 3 years, say rates drop to 4, say you have 7, and in 3 years we see some 4s, you refinance. Well, now you're very comfortable.
Even if you can get 1%.
1% off.
Like 0.5%. Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that big, but if you can pull that rate down, you were comfortable before. Well, now you just built yourself a cushion.
Right.
Or maybe when you refi, you pull some cash out. Maybe you're like, man, we would really love to put in granite countertops throughout the house. Cool, you can do that now, and you can finance it in, and maybe your payment doesn't change at all.
Right.
But you pull more money out.
Well, and I think just outside of the refinancing conversation, you're looking at people that it's going to be more competition. And I don't think people realize that the general public is afraid of the rates right now. Yeah. So if you can get beyond that fear, you're going to be able to look at houses that have been sitting on the market and have things to choose from before everyone else decides that, oh, right now is the perfect time to buy, because that's what they're thinking.
Well, and when that happens, when the rates come down, everybody's like, oh, it's the perfect time to buy. What happens to prices?
Prices go up.
Prices go up. So
Right.
it's like, did you do yourself any good? Maybe.
Right.
Like, maybe you did, but maybe you didn't.
Right. So you're really able to negotiate right now your price and the terms of your contract more than ever now than if we were at 4% rates and everyone else is out there and you're having to compete with 2 or 3 offers that are on the table. So
and now you just paid over asking price just to get the house.
Right.
I mean, but you got a good rate.
Right. Yeah. I mean, nobody knows when rates are going to drop is the thing. Yeah.
No, we don't have a crystal ball.
No. So
I wish I did. That'd be great.
If it were me, I would rather be able to negotiate 20,000. I mean, just in general, I'd rather than be able to negotiate anything off the purchase price, because that's going to make your loan potentially shorter. So, just my thoughts.
And you always have that opportunity to refinance if rates go down.
Right.
What if they go up?
Right.
And then you didn't buy the house?
Yeah. Prices ain't going to come down.
Nope.
I mean, we are seeing a lot of price drops, but that's very dependent on who the seller is.
A lot of the price drops we're seeing, though, are houses that were overpriced to begin with.
Right.
The stuff that got listed, people are still, a lot of sellers are still in the mindset of COVID pricing. Mm-hmm. They still want those premium prices.
They want the 21 price.
Buyers aren't paying that anymore.
Right. I saw something online the other day that said, the buyers that are looking right now are wanting 2008 prices, and the sellers are wanting 2021 prices, and those don't line up at all.
And the reality is we're somewhere in the middle.
Right. Yeah.
We're really somewhere in the middle, and finding that balance is tricky.
You'd be shocked how many times, even without negotiating a deal, how close someone is to an offer being accepted versus not. I mean, it's $5,000 in most cases. That is the difference between what a seller will take and what they won't. And
you think about that in the grand scheme of things. Okay, if you're a buyer and it's $5,000 difference, what does that look like over 30 years?
Right. It's going to be small.
Is that really? It's
like $10, $12 more on your mortgage? I mean, without getting into the exact numbers, I'm like, it's not going to be enough that's going to break you. I mean, that's a meal at McDonald's these days. Like, you know what I mean? So,
you can get a meal at McDonald's for $10?
It's looking more like 14 now.
I don't know. We don't eat at McDonald's, so I don't know.
No idea. Well, let's go into our third and final segment, just around Oklahoma. We're going to talk about a really cool opportunity, actually, that's going on with one of our agents that's actually throwing this event. So you've got the notes on that, so I want you to take off.
Yeah, so it's a little ways out, but, we love... When we know about something, we want to let everybody else know about it. So on May 16th, there will be an event called the Dog Days of Summer. This is going to be a pet adoption event. It's going to be sponsored by the Grill Restaurant and Bar in conjunction with the Pauls Valley Animal Shelter. That we have dogs. It'll be at the grill. There will be dogs, cats, pets. They're available for adoption that day. Us here at SALT, we're going to partner with this event and bring some fun activities for the families and kids to come hang out and do some fun stuff. Those exact things aren't lined up just yet, but we are looking at potentially face painting and a dunk tank. We might stick Dylan in there. So if you want to go dunk Dylan. But again, that'll be in May. That's going to be May 16th. So we'll keep you updated, details of that as they come and kind of how that event's going to all line out. But love to get some pets in some homes that day. I'm
hoping the weather's going to be warm if I'm sitting in the dunk tank. I was talking to Amy.
At least maybe you'll be sweaty.
Right. I was talking to Amy and I was like, okay, if it's cold outside, I'm going to volunteer myself out of that. But as long as it's 80, 85.
Well, you'll be out there and sweating. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like, someone please dunk me.
Please hit
It's okay. I got you. I'll come to.
I hope that. I know you won't miss that opportunity. I really think that's a really cool program. But what do you think I mean, I hope we have a really good turnout.
Yeah.
I mean, small town, I think it'll be really good.
Yeah, and our animal shelter is great. They do a lot, and they are overflowing most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can help them out and get some of these pets actually in homes and with families, like that'd be great.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I hope there's some good food lined up and.
Well, it's at the grill. We're gonna have good food.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's all I'm there for is the food most of the time. So I think that's our last segment. So again, if you guys got value from this, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications so you don't miss an episode. And if you're in Oklahoma thinking about buying or selling or investing, let us know because we can help you out with that. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. A little bit shorter of an episode. We're on a little bit of a time crunch this morning, but
we got it done though.
Right. Hey, that's the thing. You got to do the thing. I think tying back into our first segment, no action, hesitation, overthinking, just do the thing.
Absolutely.
Because it's not near as bad once you get into it, especially if you have a trusted source that you can go to for your information, whether that's buying a home, selling a home, starting a business, really any life decision you can think of.
Anything.
So, yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next week.